To successfully complete these activities, we first had to learn how to do them. So, what is learning? Learning has been defined as the acquisition of knowledge or skills through experience, practice, study, or by being taught. But how does learning happen in our brains? Well, let's see. Neuroscientists have long believed that learning and memory formation are made by the strengthening and weakening of connections among brain cells. Researchers found that when two neurons regularly interact, they form a bond that allows them to communicate more easily and accurately. This leads to more complete memories. But when two neurons rarely interact, the transmission is often incomplete, leading to either a faulty memory or no memory at all. As an example of this, consider your daily drive to work or school. You don't really need to think consciously about how to get there, because it's a trip that you have taken so many times that the memory of how to navigate is ingrained. The neurons that control this memory have communicated so often they've formed a tight bond, like a group of old friends. Contrast this with the experience of driving to a location you've never visited. To make this trip, your brain has to work much harder. You need to get directions, write them down or print them, and then pay extra attention to road signs along the way. In this case, the neurons involved have not shared synapses frequently before, and so they communicate incompletely. This requires forming new connections within the brain, which results in greater conscious effort and attention on our part. This research is important in understanding learning, because when learning new things, our memory is strengthened by how recently we got the information and how frequently we revise it. The more we practice and rehearse something new, and the more recently we've practiced, the easier it is for our brain to transmit these experiences efficiently and store them for ready access later.
Across the centuries, people have tried to determine the different methods by which people learn. As a result of this, they have developed stacks of theories of the different ways that learning can occur for different people. For example, Jean Piaget proposed that students create knowledge rather than receive it. He came up with 4 stages of growth: sensorometer, pre-operational, concrete operations, and formal operation. Lev Vygotsky developed the concept of the zone of proximal development, which suggested that students learn subjects best just beyond their range of existing experience, with assistance from the teacher or another peer. Howard Gardner came up with 9 intelligences by which individuals learn. He proposed that each individual learns differently from the next person through a variety of intelligences. As you can see, there are many other theorists who brought their theories to the table.
Behaviorism. Yes, you guessed it. Behaviorism is a theory based on behaviour. It is the study of observable behaviour and the effects it has on our learning. During 1953 to 1980, American psychologist B.F. Skinner came up with his famous theory of behaviorism, also known as operant conditioning. At the time, Skinner believed that scientists were wrong to try to study how our minds worked. Instead, he believed that learning could only be observed and measured by our behaviours. To test his theory, Skinner used animals to observe 3 types of strategies that affect behaviour and learning. The first being neutral operants, second, reinforcers, and third, punishers. Let's start with neutral operants. Neutral operants neither increase nor decrease the probability of a behaviour being repeated. For example, if a student completes their homework before everyone else and no reinforcement of the positive behaviour is given, the student's probability to do the behaviour again neither increases nor decreases. The second one, reinforcers. Positive reinforcers strengthens behaviour by providing a consequence a person finds rewarding. For example, if a teacher gave her students $2 every time students completed their homework, the students are more likely to repeat this behaviour from the positive reinforcement. Punishers. Negative punishers are the opposite of reinforcers. Negative punishment is to take away the rewarding stimulus. For example, if the students do not hand up their homework books on time, their $2 reward is taken off of them. As you have been listening to the examples, you would have probably made some connections between the theory and practices used in classrooms with the use of reward and consequence charts. Researchers are wary of the use of behaviourism theories in classrooms, preferring constructivism theories to promote students taking responsibility of their own learning rather than using stimuli.
Constructivism is based around the theory that learners build on previous knowledge and experience, and then reflect on those experiences. While there are a number of theorists that contribute to the idea of constructivism, Vygotsky's theories seem to stand out. Constructivism suggests that students construct their own knowledge instead of having a teacher constructing it for them. While many people immediately think that there is therefore no teacher, this is not so. The teacher now becomes the facilitator. Let's put this into practical terms. Here is Class 5C. Class 5C is going to learn about the meaning of poetry. The behaviorism theory suggests that Class 5C would listen to the teacher read aloud the poem to the class. Let's suggest this poem was about spring. The teacher then asks the Class 5C the meaning of the poem, and there will be a correct answer that the teacher is looking for. The student will then be rewarded for what they have said. On the other hand, the constructivist theory suggests that Class 5C would listen to the teacher read out the poem. The teacher would also be demonstrating to the class, making text-to-self connections, showing Class 5C that she is reflecting on previous knowledge and that it can therefore allow her to visualize the text. The teacher will then ask the students to read the text themselves and make their own connections. They would then partnership. The teacher may ask the students what the poem means, or perhaps she wouldn't. If the teacher was to ask the students what the poem means, however, she would accept any answer that shows the student constructed meaning from the poem and their background knowledge.
While there is a shift from the behaviorism theory to a constructivism approach, all learning is unique to each individual. Therefore, let's not label learning or put it in a box.